Okay. Here we are. We were just discussing that I don't really know how to start this podcast.
48 hours home.
Yeah.
48?
Yeah. Just, you're right. 48 hours. So, if any of you guys follow me on social media, you probably would have known that I was just recently away at the Agility World Championships in the Czech Republic. And I received some pretty sad, heartbreaking, shocking news while I was there, which we will definitely get into. And I wrote a few posts about how I sort of navigated that. But I think when you're writing like text on social media, there were some things that I didn't say because I wanted to be able to like say it like in my own voice, because people were taking things and going in different directions, some of which were not accurate. And so I just thought it would be easier to sort of talk about my experience through like a podcast platform, because you can actually hear my voice and see just, I think
it's about it.
I can just explain it a little bit more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, it was, I mean, it's weird. I said to like a couple of you guys that it's weird for me because I've had a week to like kind of process it while I was over there. And then like on Wednesday when I got home on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I took the day off work, and like I really, as you know, I had to come and get my dog yesterday from you because you look after 5, and I didn't really want to talk to people because it's weird now. I had to answer questions all day today, which was totally fine, but it's like,
You just dealt with the feelings and now they're fresh again.
Yeah, it just brings it like back up again.
Yeah.
And I'm
Fair.
like, I'm not really the kind of person who like likes to like wallow in my sorrows. I like real good at like pushing things down, and like I'm sure this will like come back up when I'm 60 and have like some type of mental breakdown because of 2023 when I couldn't run at the AWC. But anyways, it's hard to kind of like go over it again. But at the same time, like, I guess I have lots of feelings because I also don't want to come off like I'm not like upset about it, because I am. I'm showing it differently because there's like nothing I can do.
Oh, it's totally out of your control.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, anyways, I had my moments, but the trip as a whole was, thank you, PP. The trip as a whole was great. It was, with the exception of not running, like it actually was a pretty fun trip. There's lots of like hilarious things that happened. There's lots of fun stories that I can share today. And it definitely was a learning experience as well.
Because you've never been to that event.
No.
Or that country.
No. And I wanted to see it for myself because people always say like, there's just nothing like it. And it's true. Like I've been to all of the world championships now, and they're all wonderful, and they all have like
a different flavor.
Yeah. And some things are like really special about that particular event, but the caliber and like the vibe at this event was definitely like top notch. Like it was really, really cool, which made it even worse to like not be able to run.
Participate. Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. There's always like so many adventures whenever you're going overseas and you have, you know, a dog with you in terms of like the flight and the whole process. So we had definitely a lot of adventures like prior to the day from hell. So like there was lots of good things. I saw lots of people that, you know, it was fun to see. I got to watch like some of the handlers that I, you know, admire on Facebook or Instagram media, or whatever. Yeah. I got to see them run live, which was really cool. Yeah, there was lots of really, really great things, but obviously it definitely was like a different experience than what I was like physically and mentally hoping for sure. So yeah. Anyway. So I guess I should say what I'm talking about, because some people might be listening to this for the first time and being like, what on earth happened? I mean, the good news is that I didn't get hurt and my dog didn't get hurt. But sadly, when I went over, there's some vet checks and like height qualifications and things that you have to go through and be measured over the height requirement that was needed for her to run in the medium category. And therefore I was told that I could not run. So I basically flew all the way over, spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's been a dream of mine to run at this event for basically
and you did a lot of prepping prior.
So much prepping. And then couldn't run. So it was pretty heartbreaking. And so I'll explain kind of what happened, because as I was talking about it on social media, people, I think they're very, like, they just don't know how. Like, how can you go all the way over there and be told no when, like, you should know that, like, ahead of time?
Yes.
Which is true. How can you? How can you go all the way over there and then expect one thing and then hear another? It's truly shocking. But I'll explain that. I'll explain kind of what happened. And there's like some things that happened leading up to the event that could have maybe tipped me off, but didn't. So anyways, I don't know if we want to get into that now, or we want to tell a couple funny stories first to lighten the mood.
Do you want to tell your tunnel adventure?
Oh, I could. For those of you that are not watching, we have a very different vibe tonight. Instead of wine, we have champagne flutes and champagne, and we also have chocolate.
I like it.
And big bowls of ice cream. No, we don't have any ice cream, but that would be great. Yes, I can tell my tunnel incident. So this is
well, first of all, there's always an adventure when you travel. Always something.
Yeah. And like, I don't know whether everybody experiences all these things or if it's like me or like the people that I travel with. Like, it just, I feel like there's all of these hurdles that you have to cross, and it's just crazy. So anyways, I was traveling with a friend and student named Carolyn, and she has the patience of a saint, kind of, not really. She's a pretty anxious traveler, and I don't think she'll mind me saying this. And so, and she's also never stayed in an Airbnb. So our plan was to share a car, and when we got to the event, she was going to stay at a hotel, and I was supposed to stay at an Airbnb with another friend. And, but we were staying in Prague for 2 days before like all of this was started, so that we could travel and like see Prague before the competition started. So anyways, getting to, so we flew into Austria from Toronto so that we could do a direct flight. And then we drove from Austria.
How long was the flight?
On the way there, it was 8 hours. Ooh. And on the way back, it was 9.5. Oh, yeah.
It's long.
Brutal. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the flight was fine. It was, I was flying Air Canada, which typically they're terrible with dogs, but both on the way there and back, fabulous.
Nice.
No problems whatsoever. They were actually really, really good. So I was pleased with that. No dramatics getting there, except when we got there, the plan was that Carolyn and I were going to share the car, and for the first couple of days we would share together. And then once we were going to 2 different locations, I was going to take the car and she was going to stay at the hotel, because the hotel was really close to the venue, and I was staying in an Airbnb that was like 20 minutes away. But I didn't end up getting my international driver's license. So, because I've gone to Europe how many times? I've
never had to get that.
Never needed it. But the rental girl was adamant that was the case. So anyways.
And Carolyn had one?
Carolyn had one. So she was good to go.
She's a good planner.
She was a very good planner. So anyway, so now I'm sort of thinking, oh, that's crappy. So now, like, I can't really drive anywhere. I'm sort of limited to have to go with other people, which is not the end of the world. But, you know, I just like my freedom to be able to do what I want. B, hop up. Lie down. I know, you just want to be held. Anyways, so to make a long story short, we drive from Austria to Prague. And when we get to Prague, we're looking for the Airbnb. I can't remember whether I said this, but Carolyn's never stayed in an Airbnb before.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
So
what time is it?
Well, by the time we get to Prague and we're looking for an Airbnb, it's now dark. And I was Googling, like, what time does the sun set in Prague? And it was like 6:45 and it was like 6:30. And we still hadn't gotten there yet.
Okay.
So we get there, and I know that the Airbnb that we're staying at is supposed to be like in the country, like outside of the city, because I figured it would be nice to stay there with the dogs and like whatever. But we cannot find this Airbnb for the life of us. And we're like driving through all of these like small villages and like down driveways where you can only go one direction. Poor Carolyn's having to do like a million 5-point turns. It's dark. We don't have any idea where we're going. And I can see poor Carolyn is starting to get more stressed by the minute because she's like, we're gonna have to sleep in the car.
And you guys also traveled all day, so
we're so tired.
Yeah, time change.
Yeah, it was brutal. So anyways, and we can't find it. Now, of course, I'm also shitting bricks, but like I can see that she's stressed out. So I'm kind of being like, it's good. Like, I'm sure it's down this road. Like, we're good. I'm thinking, I don't fucking know where it is. And no idea. So anyways, we get stuck. We like go up like half of a mountain and we get stuck and we can't figure out where it is. We're in the wrong spot. So I like, you know how you can put like GPS coordinates in?
Yes.
And so I did that and it like told us we had to go like 15 minutes like in the other direction. So I was like, surely this has got to be it because where we are is not right. So anyways, we go back down the little mountain. It's not really too crazy yet, but there was like, it was sketchy. Anyways, we find this driveway and I'm looking on the instructions for the Airbnb and like it looks like the same place. So I'm like, okay, but you can't see the house. You can only see like a driveway. And then you see all these pictures of like, now you'll see this, now you see this. And I'm starting to clue
lots of
in
landmarks. Yeah.
that the driveway is long and that whatever. So no problem. So we go in, but the driveway's not a driveway. It's like in the middle of a field and the driveway is like just like it's got grass and it's just got tire marks on either side.
Okay, so like country style.
Like very like a field country. Like you're like, is this right? So anyways, we're driving down the thing and like we're starting to go in an incline. So we're getting progressively higher as we go along. Carolyn is like, she's almost had enough at this point already. So we go up and we turn a corner and it's pitch black dark and all of a sudden we come up to an area where we can't like we're just wide enough that our car fits and there's this like stone tunnel that is just like wider than our car.
Circle, like there's a cover on it?
No, it's like an arch.
Okay.
With like what we found out in a moment was a railroad train tracks above it.
Okay.
But
so a bridge,
but it just looked like a hole in the mountain that we had to drive through. So Carolyn stops in front of the hole and she's like, no way we're going through that. And I was like, Carolyn, like it's now like 7:00 or 7:30, whatever time it was. And I was like our Airbnb is through this hole. Like we've got to go. So we're contemplating. So
did you know it was a driveway at this point? Or were you concerned that like other cars were going to come through?
No, I wasn't concerned about other cars. I was concerned about murderers. Like I was,
okay.
It looked like out of a horror movie.
Okay.
So we're parked in front of this tunnel and Carolyn doesn't want to go through it. I'm terrified, but I'm trying not to like make it seem like that. So I tell her to get out and go look down the tunnel. And she looks at me. She's like, I'm not getting out by myself. You're coming with me. And I'm like, shit, that's so scary. So we get out and we like lock arms. We have our freaking iPhone flashlights on and we go through this tunnel and I am terrified. And we look at the end and we see that there is a hole at the end of the tunnel that we can drive through. But then it goes up even further. So to get through and up, we got to like burn rubber so that we can make it through.
Oh.
So we're walking back down the tunnel and we're laughing at like how scary it is. And then a train goes over top the top and we almost peed our pants.
None of the reviews said don't go at night. Like
no, it said nothing about nighttime. It also didn't say, warning, you'll be driving up the mountain and it will take you about 20 minutes in like the off-road to get to this cottage.
Maybe that's normal there though.
Maybe it is. I'm not sure, but it was real weird. So anyways, off we go through the stone tunnel and like she's going trying to get going so fast that the loose stone is like kicking up behind us. And I was like, oh my God, like we are definitely going to die. So we go up and we get to a gate. And then I look at the pictures again and it does say you get to a gate. So I have to get out of the car again in the middle of this wilderness and open this metal gate. And then we see random cars that look like they're abandoned.
They probably were.
Yeah. And we're like anyway, so we get to the very top of this mountain, like we're driving forever, like so steep, and we cannot go any further and we can't see anything. So then Carolyn is now like, we've been lured into the middle of the woods and now we are going to be murdered.
Okay.
So anyways, I'm like, don't fret. We'll just contact the Airbnb girl because she's been so nice and helpful. So I call her and I text her, no response. So we're like, great. What are we going to do now? So anyways, finally she calls back after a while.
That was part of her plan.
I know. Well, that's what Carolyn said. She's like, well, here we go. Like she's been so nice. And now that they're like not answering, now someone's going to come out of the woods and murder us. And like, this is it. So I was a little worried. So I started sending Ken my GPS coordinates. And I was like, if you don't hear from me ever again, this is where I was. this is where I was.
Yeah, you learned that from our first trip.
Oh my
in the open. Yeah.
See, this is it.
See, learning experience, teachable moments.
Anyways, so we see with our car lights that there is a house even further up the mountain, but you can't drive it. You have to walk. So this Airbnb girl messages back, and then she's like, yes, you're in the right place. That is the cottage. You can't drive up there. You have to carry your things up. Anyways.
How many feet do you think that was?
From where we were to the house? 80? Like up a hill. Like it was far. So anyways, I say to Carolyn, I was pre-planned, so I put all of my stuff into like my little suitcase.
Yes.
Carolyn didn't do that. She had her big suitcase.
Oh, no.
So anyways, we're out and we're taking all of her things out of her suitcase and putting it into a small suitcase before we trek up this mountain. So we get up to the door and I look for the key. We go in. And the cottage looks nothing like the pictures. It's like a quarter of the size. It's not like dirty or anything like that. It's just not what we were expecting. So also we found 2 spiders and we had to kill them with the oven mitts, and that didn't go very well. Anyways, so we're looking around and I'm like trying to figure out like the bedroom situation. I find 1 bedroom, that's fine. And the place says it has 2 bedrooms. So I think that's perfect. 1 for me, 1 for her. I can't find the second bedroom anywhere. So I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with this place? So now we have our things kind of in there. We have no food. We have alcohol, which is important. And we're looking around and I see this ladder that goes up to this big hole in the ceiling. And so I think that must, and Carolyn's like, no, don't go up there. I'm like, we got to go up. Like, we got to see what's up here. So I'm like, get behind me. I need your flashlights. We trudge up this ladder. And sure enough, there was an attic, and in the attic, there was the second bed. Yeah. But like, we couldn't stay on it because if a dog jumped off the bed in the middle of the night, they would just go through the hole and then fall down. So I was like, we're getting to know each other real well because we're sleeping in the same room tonight. Like, we're sharing a bed because number 1, this is frightening. And number 2, like, it's too dangerous. So anyways, we finally get settled and Carolyn is not happy at all. She's being a trooper, but like, I can tell she is like fucking.
You've ruined her experience.
Oh, she was like, I am never staying in an Airbnb again. Like, she's like, this is awful. And so anyways, we were sort of tired, and then we had a couple drinks just to kind of settle. And I started thinking to myself, like, if this is what the Airbnb's experience is like, and I have to go to another Airbnb and like the bed's uncomfortable and it's in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, I don't think I want to do that. So that night I contacted the team hotel and asked if there was a room, and they said that there was. So I transferred. I transferred to the hotel, which was perfect. Anyways, we ended up having a fun night. We had lots of drinks and they had a sauna. And so we had a sauna, and it turned out to be lots of fun, but we were supposed to be staying there for 2 days. We got up in the morning and we were like, we are out of here.
Was it nice though when it, like in daylight?
Yes, it was nice in the daylight, but like it would be good if you were going to like wanted to be like in the woods or something. Like it was like a bit rugged. It was nice. It was very nice. Like it was fine.
But you're a country girl, but really city.
Like, I am a princess through and through. I like comfortable beds. I like, the shower had good pressure.
Oh, that's good. That was good. That's a bonus.
Anyways, so we pack up all of our things and we're going to go to Prague for the day, and then we're going to go directly to the hotel and never come back to this place again. So then I'm like, let's take a selfie in front of the thing. It'll be so fun. So we do that. And then we go down this treacherous mountain to get to the bottom, which now we're laughing because we can see everything that we had to do in the daylight now. And it turns out the abandoned cars were just cars that were at the bottom of their mountain houses. So there was more houses there, but we couldn't see them because it was so dark, and their cars also couldn't drive up. Yeah. So anyway, so it was not as bad on the way back, but like it was very treacherous. So we pull out of the driveway and we're laughing and videotaping the whole thing because this is hysterical. And we start going on the road, and all of a sudden I had a feeling, I don't know if I told you this part before.
No,
I had a feeling that I had forgotten something. So I'm thinking, oh God, Gail, please don't have forgotten something, because Carolyn, like, I think she is over me. She is over the situation, but like she's a trooper, so like she's still like being funny and nice and everything's good. But I can just tell like she's reached her limit, right? Yep. So, anyways, I realize I think I forgot something. So I say, Carolyn, pull over for a second. So I pull out the selfie to see, and I zoom in, and sure enough, my Team Canada leash, my water bottle, like all of these things are just sitting on the table in front of the cottage. So we have to turn around and drive back up the mountain.
You really liked this mountain.
Oh, anyways, we had to drive back up the mountain. Then I had to run back up to the garden and get all my stuff off the table. And then she was like, "Are you sure we have everything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think we're good." So anyway, so then we went to Prague and we had a great day, and we stopped on the way and had some schnitzel and some other fun things. And
nice.
It's always cool because you can take the dogs with you everywhere.
It's just a different
How
feel.
many restaurants did you go to, B? Like probably 5 or 6, I think. And she learned to settle in, and I brought a little mat with her, and she just laid underneath the table, or sometimes she sat on the chair beside me. And yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? So anyways, and then we had lots of fun in Prague, and then ended up going to the hotel. And yeah, it was absolutely the right choice for me. It was more my vibe. And it was like 4 minutes from the show site. So
that's nice.
Everything was easier. There was a restaurant there, a 24-hour bar, which I ended up using a lot during the week.
Oh, I bet.
As you could possibly imagine. And anyway, so we stayed there, and I had my own room so I could have my own space. And anyways, so that turned out good. But the whole Airbnb experience, like the first night was just
funny.
It was just something. So anyways, that was funny. So then the next day, we had the unofficial team practice, and we went, we were in Liberec now. We drove back to Prague for that, to this really beautiful facility that was like designed specifically for agility. So we had our team practice there, and that was fun. And at team practice, I brought like a measuring device with me, and I had a bunch.
Practice?
Yeah.
From home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wanted to, because she's very soft. So I wanted to practice with other people, like leaning over top of her and like practicing the measuring part. Yeah. And I wasn't necessarily doing it because I was worried she was going to measure over. I was more trying to make sure
of
that
the people, because she doesn't like that.
No, and she can be funny if people get like rough with her or whatever. Anyways, we did the practice, and like 3 different people measured her. No problem whatsoever. Aaron Froud, actually, like he's a judge and a friend as well, and he really like lifted her head up, and like he was real firm with her because we were just trying to condition her, and I fed her the whole time, and she seemed
to be okay.
Yeah, she didn't like it, but she was like, okay, like I'll do it. And she was fine. So anyways, I thought, okay, great. That was like super easy. I'm going to just relax about it. Like everything will be fine. Life goes on. We go to the next day. We have like our team practice. We have to get up in the morning, and we have to go to vet checks and stuff. And this place is very strict. This venue is very strict. You can't even take your dog in the building until it's been vet checked. So like, we couldn't.
Why?
I don't know. I guess I don't know why, but. Basically, you can't go in.
Was the vet check like very thorough? Like, was it?
It was the most intense vet check I have ever been to.
Really?
Yeah. So they have them up on these tables, and at each table they do like 3 or 4 dogs at a time. And at each table there was probably 6 people. And at the same time,
that's a lot.
It was nuts, James. They were like, so one person, there was a couple people touching B and like looking her all over.
Like at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
And holding her and lifting her tail and looking at her back end and doing all these things. Another person at the exact same time was putting a wristband on my wrist. And then I was talking to this person going through like my rabies, and like they're trying to be
documentation. Efficient.
So efficient. But it was like,
were some dogs worried about that?
Oh, I'm sure they must have been.
Yeah.
It was very, very intense, but very fast. It did not take long. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was like a whirlwind. And then that was like in a room, like surrounded by curtains. And then we went into the next room where I know I'm getting intense, aren't I? The next room is where they did the measurement. And again, they had like 4 measuring tables and 4 different judges doing it. And they weren't necessarily the judges that were at the event, which I didn't realize until afterwards. They were just other official. I think some of them might have been judges and some of them were not. They were just official, probably judges elsewhere, but weren't actually judging at that event.
Okay. But agility judges.
Yes. And anyways, so we go in and we... she goes up on the table, and I got a woman judge, and right off the bat, I got like a vibe from her, like sort of like a grouchy vibe.
Okay.
But whatever. You just don't know, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I stand her, and almost immediately she starts like putting her hand like under her chin like this and like lifting her up and putting her hand under her chest and lifting her up and moving her feet. And you can see B, even with me doing it, is like, ugh, whatever. But we've trained for that. So I thought like, okay, like don't stress, like she'll be fine. Moving her around, and then she put the wicket over her and it would like teeter a little bit.
So it's not like a measuring device that goes back and forth.
No,
it
was a wicket.
Okay.
Like skinny metal wicket. Yep. So it would like kind of teeter back and forth. And so she just like said like, okay, let's let her relax. And the lady was like pretty good at that point. So we kind of pet her and then she would sort of relax, but she kept lifting her head like way up. Kind of like standing like how a boxer stands, like with their front feet like straight like this, and like the head up, like stacking them basically, which so I hear now is a stand that some of the judges were requiring, others were not, which is, I think,
there's just some discrepancy there
where there was some issues. But we'll get into that in a second. Anyways, so it wasn't resting flat on the floor. B was very stressed and I was very stressed, but whatever. It's a stressful situation. And so they said, go and walk her and then come back, which I thought was very nice. Yeah. So we did that. We go out, and in hindsight, this is the part where I would have done things a bit differently. So when I went out, and the reason, for those of you listening who don't know, the reason why you walk them is sometimes it kind of like lets them like get the stress off a little bit.
Takes the edge off a bit.
Yeah. And then if they're like a little bit more relaxed because they've just walked or they've run or whatever, then sometimes they'll stand like a little bit more settled and a little bit more comfortably. So I went outside and I threw the ball for her for like, I don't know, 6 times, but I was like kind of in shock because I was not expecting that to happen. And so I was like also like starting to fight back the tears, and I was getting a bit stressed. And then B was very aware of that. And so Teresa, our team leader, was really good. And she's like, you need to like get it together because B is sensing this. And then we had a masseuse that was there, like a body worker. And she had said like, oh, this has happened with other team members in the past. And if I just massage them and like get their muscles relaxed, then they went back in and they stood like much more comfortably and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, you can do that. But I should not have done that, because if I look back at the situation, there was cars over here. There was all kinds of people everywhere.
She's so affected by cars.
Affected by it. So like she
can't even pee outside with a big truck.
No. So she was sitting and she was worried about me, worried about the situation. And Carly was massaging her, but she was not relaxing.
Yeah.
But I was too
in your head about what was happening.
Yes. That I didn't, what I should have done is said, this isn't working. I need to like throw the ball. I need to relax her. I need to go somewhere a little quieter and just get her to chill out. Also, I need to get myself to chill out. Anyway, so 10 minutes, not even, went by, and they were sort of getting to the end of the measurement, and they were like, okay, you need to come back in. And I was like, surely this is going to be fine. Like, we'll just relax and it'll be good. So then I go in, and this time I go to a second judge.
Okay.
And his approach was completely different. He like let her get up on the table. He let her lie down. He pet her. He stroked her. He gave her some cookies. He just talked to her very calmly, and she was like a completely different dog. Her eyes were all squinty and soft, and he moved her, but he moved her slowly and gently, and she was
comfortable with that.
So much better. So he stood her. I didn't even do it. Like I was not even touching her. And anyways, he put the wicket on and it touched the ground. She was under. So I was like, perfect. So then he calls what's her butt over, and she says, I don't like how she's standing. She needs to have her head higher. So again, she comes in, starts grabbing B.
Was she like the head?
I think maybe she was. I don't know her name. I don't even really know his name. He was very, very great, and she was very like
just firm,
very firm. Approach, So she starts pushing her all around again, and then so B tenses up, and then it starts to teeter, and then she says something. What was hard for me is that they would speak English to me, but then they would speak Czech to one another. So I didn't really know
what was happening.
No, and like whether I should like speak up and like ask questions, or whether I should be quiet and just be like cooperative. Like obviously I would not be cooperative, but like, you know what I mean? I just didn't really know what to do with myself. So anyway, so she would mutter something, and then she'd go away, and then he would continue to work with her. And then it would settle and then she would be under again. And then he'd call her back over and then they would get into these big discussions. Anyways, this went back and forth for quite some time. Then some other guy came in and he was trying to put food on her nose. And it, like, we were in there for so long, like B was getting done. And honestly, she was so tolerant because she, like, all kinds of people were leaning over top of her and moving her and placing her everywhere. And she didn't like it, but she never tried to leave. She just
accepted it.
She was really good.
Yeah.
Anyways, lie down. She's like, you keep pushing me around, Mom. I'm sorry. Anyways, the last like 2 minutes of the situation, I could feel that she was not going to change her mind because she was adamant about how the dog was standing. And it was very different.
So, sorry,
than any
just to
other
go
stand.
back for 1 second. So there was one guy that measured her under and then another guy too?
Yep. He just kind of came in to help, but didn't actually measure. And then
okay.
he was there for about 15 seconds.
Okay.
But he made the situation very stressful because he was like trying to come in and like help.
Be assertive.
Yeah, but it was not helpful at all. Anyways, I could kind of tell that she was going to say no. And at that point I was like in shock because I didn't really know what to do. Teresa was amazing. She just kept asking questions and like tried to like keep figuring out what was going to happen. And like the man was so nice. He was literally like rubbing my arm because he could see, like, as I was starting to well up, because I was starting to go, oh my God, is this actually happening?
And he sounds so kind.
Oh, he really was so nice. And even when he was measuring her, like, I was holding her head up, like with my hand like this, because she said she wanted her head up. So I would hold it like just with my fingers under her mouth like this, so that she was a bit more calm, where she would like go like that, like, I'm sorry.
She's like, I don't like that.
She's like, I'm having PTSD. I remember that day. So, and you just get a different response from the dog. So anyways, they said no. And, you know, I tried to say like, I've come so far. Like, this is really upsetting. Like she's a great dog and it would be a shame if she didn't get to run. And they, you know, they basically said like, we know you've traveled a long time and we know that you've spent a lot of money to be here, but it's a no, like you need to leave.
And so, that was that.
And that was that. And there's no,
you can't,
dispute it.
Yes.
No. Once you have a measurement also in this category or in this organization, that's your measurement forever. So like, so I'm thinking to myself, well, if I come back next year and like I could measure under possibly like, but that's not even an option. Like once you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what happened. There was only 2 people, okay, I'm going to jump forward a second. I wrote a post about what happened. And I didn't give all the nitty gritty details because like, who's going to write all of those things in a post? Yeah. So people were very nice.
And you're emotional as well.
And so my post got shared.
This deserves some drinking right now.
Good idea. My post got shared to a bunch of people, and there was one particular group that shared my post, and they were very nice because they were saying like, this is so sad for Kale, blah, 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 blah. Surely there's like a different measurement system that could be done that is more consistent, so on and so forth. And they were just opening up a discussion about it. Yeah. Nothing bad, just like wanted to have a discussion. So I saw that they shared this and I thought, oh, that's really nice. But I was sad, so I didn't really check social media. A few hours later, I just happened to look again and I saw that the post had like 240 or 36 comments and like 32 shares or something. Like it was like, whoa. I was like, what the hell? So I start looking at the comments and there was a particular person from our country. And if they listen to this, fine. I don't really give a shit, to be perfectly honest, who was commenting things that were inaccurate, rude, mean, and just not true. And so that's another reason why I wanted to do this podcast, because they were basically implying that I knew I was going to measure over and I flew all the way over there knowing that would possibly happen, but that I came anyways. And that basically one of the comments was about like teaching her to stand lower and just things that were very rude and not nice. Also, we're from the same country. A normal person would be like
supportive and back you up.
Too bad one of the best dogs in the country can't run. Like, I don't care who you are, whether I like you or I don't like you. If you are going to represent our country well, I would hate to see that they wouldn't be able to run, because it's not about me or you. It's about, we're on the same team here. We're both from Canada.
Yeah.
So like,
even though separate parts of Canada. Yeah.
On top of that, my issue with the measurement was that there was inconsistencies. And I know, because I was in the room longer than most people, the measurement room, that the judges were not measuring the dogs the same way.
Yeah.
The girl that I got was looking for a very specific stack. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If that was what was expected, it would have been nice to know that ahead of time. But other judges were not doing that. And there are dogs that I know of in the medium height category that are taller than B that got measured under. So it was like the luck of the draw. One of them went to the guy that measured her under. And if we had somehow switched places just organically, because we walked in the building at a different time and I went to him and this person went to her, I would be playing and they would be in the stands for the weekend. That is how it would have gone.
Yeah.
So I got, a very unlucky thing, and it is, and it just is what it is.
So there was lots of comments about the whole measuring. Do you feel that there should be a different system for measuring?
I think that there should be something more consistent. And if it's the tall show stack that they want, then that needs to be very clear. And when we're getting our measurements done in our own country, that's how they should be measuring the dogs. And that's how they should be measuring dogs in all of the situations. Like, they should be making that clear. B's been measured by many European judges. She's been measured, like Tomas measured her when I tried out before COVID, and then obviously none of us got to go. He measured her 3 times because they had to make sure that it was right. And he got 16.5 every single time, which would make her eligible for the medium height category. And
what's the medium height category? What is the cutoff?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
16.87. I don't remember. I'll find out.
Okay.
It's close, but like under.
Yeah. And if you have a dog of that caliber and you're close, you will want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So anyways, and then also too, like at the event, like once things got spread around that I wasn't running, Greg Darrett, who runs the WAO, which I have been to countless times and been measured at, he was curious about me measuring over. So he told me later that he went back to the WAO measurement files, because he was curious to see what she measured when she measured there. 16.5, which again, I mean, and for WAO, the height category, like the height cutoff is way higher.
Yeah.
So like when I got her measured, I wasn't even like, literally, like it was like, I think a truck went by like just before, like her measurement was like chaos. So she was not standing
low,
nice or low. She was standing high, but I wasn't really worried about it because I was like, the height category is super high, and she still measured under what this would have been accepted at. Now I will say this. One of the comments that this person made is that my measurement process at tryouts it took a long time to get her measured. And that is true. And I will tell you why. When I went in to get measured, Sari from Finland was one of the judges. And then there was another judge that was there. I'm not going to say her name. And I got her first, and she had a very similar approach to the woman in AWC, where she was
handling.
Yeah, the handling, grabbing her head, lifting her up, moving her around, very gruff. But this particular person was really verbally brash towards me. And at the same time, they wanted the dog to be on a table. It was like one of those like Costco, like 6-foot white plastic tables. Just like, and no matting. So like B jumped up there, or I lifted her up or whatever. And like, she's up on her toes because there's no matting. So I did say, like, do you think we could put like a mat or something on it? Because the dogs are like slipping around. Anyways, this girl was really firm in whatever with how she was handling B, which is fine because sometimes that does happen and I'm not shocked by that. I don't like it and B doesn't like it, but like I understand it. But she was really, really rude to the point where she told me, like, I was trying to feed B because she was handling her so to get her to like settle. And then she's like, take the food off of her nose. But the way she was speaking to me was like, she might as well have said like, you fucking idiot at the end of each sentence. Like that was the tone, right? So automatically when you're in a stressful situation and somebody is speaking to you in that manner, you get stressed because you're like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah,
like,
it becomes tense.
I didn't even practice my stands or anything to do with anything before that because I was so sure, because I had already gotten measured in the past and with no problem. Like, so then in the first like 2 minutes of being in there, when this girl was like, so angry, I was like, what the hell is happening? Then she calls Sari over because she says, I'm not getting the dog in the measurement, so you have to measure. So Sari is sort of the same things. It's sort of like the same thing that happened actually overseas, is Sari takes a second, pets her or whatever, was very kind, very gentle, B completely relaxed. She stands B, puts the thing on,
No
and
problem.
she measures her under. So then, what's her butt? Says, I think she's getting her to stand low. And then she's like, go and stand against the wall. So she made me in the room go and stand against the wall. So now I'm like 15 feet from B. She's over on the table by herself. And those two are handling the dog going back and forth. And B's standing there. Again, she's a very well-trained dog. She just dealt with it. So they go back and forth. The girl's getting her like teetering with the thing. Sari's getting her under. And so finally Sari had the last say. And Sari said, this dog is medium. Here's my height thing. There you go on. And then I walked out of the room and was like, what the hell just happened? It almost seemed like the girl was like trying to make me not measure. That was like,
that's how you felt.
the vibe I got.
Yeah.
But there's always a lesson in something. So if I take the attitude out of it, and if she had said to me, look, Kel, when you go over there, it's possible
This is how they're going to measure.
that your dog you might get touched this way. Your dog might need to stand this tall. This could be what
they're looking
happened.
for.
Yeah. Just so you're prepared. And they measured me over because that was the exception. That was the expectation there. And that would have been heartbreaking at tryouts for sure. But then at least I wouldn't have traveled all the way over and spent all of that money and all of that mental preparation, all that thing to get told no there. But I was so distracted by how rude and mean this girl was that I thought it was almost like a personal attack because of who I am, that I didn't see the lesson there. I just thought that this was like a one-off and surely they're not going to handle her the way that this woman handled her because she was so rude. But now I see it a bit differently. So it sucks. And so did I go over thinking maybe she could measure over? Maybe in the back of my mind, I did a little bit, but I didn't actually think it would happen because she's been measured under 99% of the time. So
yeah,
it's like,
and I don't know. I think it's worth the chance too. A dog of that speed and that well trained,
and she's on the line.
Yeah,
but there's lots of dogs that are on the line.
But there's such a variation.
Lie down.
Like when I ran a 16-inch dog, I went to a nationals and my dog had to be measured at that point under 15.75.
Right.
And my dog measured 15.75 at nationals. So they were questioning whether or not they wanted to accept me on the team because I was so close to the measurement.
Fair.
And this particular judge was concerned for that. And I understand that, but I really didn't think of the measurement because I had a variation of measurements on this dog. And I went back in my measurements because I wanted to show the person that measured that look at the variations.
Yeah.
And one of the measurements was 15 and one of the measurements was 15 and a half. And I had, I think, another 15 and a half as well. I had a bunch of them. But the moral of the story is the judge who measured her at 15.75, she also measured her at 15.
Right. Same person.
The same person.
At a different time.
At a different time. So there's a huge variance on the measurement piece.
Yeah.
And it is stressful when you're close. But if you have a dog that is close and they're under and they're well trained and they have the speed, you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, the whole thing is really unfortunate. And, you know, I don't really know what people are going to think about this. Like, I hope that people don't think that I was trying to like pull one over. I mean, I'm not going to, you know, this is a sport that is basically my life and it's very important to me and I work very hard at it. It was a dream for literally since like I had Slice, like how long ago to do this. So obviously I'm not going to go all the way over there and be like, oh, it's okay if I just sit in the stands for 5 days. Like I'm sure it'll be fine. Never in a million years did that cross my mind. And there's hindsight. I could go back and think of all kinds of things that could have done differently. Like, you know, if I had gone in and like I said, I went to one table and somebody else went to another table, it could have been a completely different outcome. So yes, they need to figure out how they're going to do the measuring
and be consistent.
Yeah. And maybe there's like things that happen before you go over and then what you get measured before you go is what you get. Or I don't really know the answer, but I know that there needs to be improvement and hopefully maybe it takes someone like me that is going to get a lot of attention because of this. Maybe that will help. Maybe that will help our measuring in our country so that this doesn't happen. Like, I don't know. I hope something good comes out of it because it certainly was very, very difficult to deal with while I was there. Like I was numb. Like I had I couldn't, I was in shock when I was like walking out of the building to be like, what? Like I'm not running. What am I going to do? Poor Ange caught the brunt of it. I think I sent you guys like a text in our group chat. I don't know what time it was in the morning, but basically I was like, I need to talk to someone right now. Like, cause I just didn't know what to do with myself. And you know, and you're like crying so hard that you like, no, like nothing word comes out.
Yes.
So Ange like calls and she's like, hello. And I can't speak. And then she's like, okay, are you okay? And I was like, yes. So then I start crying again. She was like, okay. Is B hurt? And I was like, no. And I just, cause she was over here, she's like, okay. And that poor Ange. Anyways, finally I got it out and it was like, oh wow, it was awful. But the sad part, like B couldn't even go into the facility. So she had to stay in the crate in the car.
Oh,
for like,
really?
Yeah, for like the rest of the time that I was there. Luckily it was cool. So that was fun.
Why though? Even though she went through the vet check prior?
Yeah. Well, no, I guess maybe I could have taken her in, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't take her in. Like I was anyways. Yeah. It was pretty intense. But I mean, I had my moments of sadness, but also like
you handled it very well though. I don't think a lot of people would have been able to or want to stick it out. Like I think that I'd want to go home.
Yeah.
And you might have felt that at certain points, I'm sure, but you did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, I did want to go home, but that wasn't an option. I was in a different country.
Well, you made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah. I mean,
and it sounded like the team really valued your support.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I was helpful. I hope I was able to like bring some good energy. Like I tried to lead the cheers and I tried to, you know, I would go down and like be there for course walks. So if anybody had questions and they wanted to like run things by me, or I would watch them handle and then I would be like, you know, give them feedback about like, I think like you seem a bit late there. Like, you know, how we would normally do it. Yeah. But, and I was really grateful to Teresa because like she never pressured me to do anything for even a moment. She was like, you tell me what you want to do. If you want to leave, if you want to not even be here in the facility, if you like whatever you want to do, you let me know. And I thought about it and I was like, I cannot sit here for 5 days now or 6 days or whatever it was.
Such a long event.
And do nothing and just feel sorry for myself because like I've come all the way here now. Like I need to do something that makes me feel like there was a point to coming, that there was some type of purpose to be here because otherwise it's just like a waste of time. And I mean, you know me, I'm not someone who, you know, sits in sadness for very long. I just, you know, I had my sad moments, but I tried to have those moments, you know, in the hotel room on FaceTime with you guys. And I didn't want to be moping around and
impact the team negatively.
No, not at all. Like I didn't like, they're there, you know,
to focus
just like I would have been to, you know, not deal with bullshit from me. So I think I think it was really important to be that way because, you know, I'm a team member, whether I'm running or whether I'm not running. Yeah. And it's important that I acted that way.
And you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm proud of how I handled it. It was hard, but, yeah, I think I was pretty focused. I mean, I had lots of fun too, because, you know, I had my big party night where I was like, screw this. Like I'm having fun here. And, we had lots of fun. And then Saturday, by the time, because the competition started Wednesday, this all happened Tuesday, the vet thing. Then we had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By the time Saturday morning came around, I was like, okay, like I was tough. I supported everybody. I'm ready to go now. I've sat here in the stands in long days. Like you're there at like 6:40, 6:30 in the morning and you're there till 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yes.
It's a long time
to
be sitting.
Yes.
I mean, we went for lots of walks and stuff. So, you know, that was good. I tried to keep her a little bit entertained. She made me laugh. She was so bored in the hotel room. There was like these teddy bears that you got like
as a welcome.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't keep them, but they were, I don't know what the point of them was, but about halfway through the trip, she decided that she wanted to like demolish this thing. And she didn't like ruin it, but she would like steal it from wherever I would hide it from. And then she would like shake it and like play on the bed. And I was like, she's so bored. I do not have it in me to take it away from her. She was having such a good time with it. So anyways, we left and it was covered in slobber, but luckily she didn't ruin it in any way. But yeah, I think she was a bit bored, as was I be. But anyways, the agility caliber and
what did you like about the event?
I liked lots of things. I thought that the way they organized the running was cool. Like they did, so they would build the course and then they would have the white dog go. And then the judge would watch the white dog. And depending on how the white dog ran, he would then
tweak the course.
Yeah. And then you would walk the course. So you actually got to watch someone run before you got to walk.
That's kind of
which I found really helpful is like doing the coaching role because I would watch and then I could kind of get a sense for it. And then I could help say like, you know, this would be a good option or this is something you have to worry about because it's even easier to see it when you see a dog run. So that was kind of cool. I thought that was really interesting. And then just the energy, like when they're course building, they literally had dancers that were there between every single...
Like real dancers?
Like real dancers. Like, really? I don't know if they were cheerleaders or what they were, but every single, between each course...
It was like an entertainment show?
They would lead a dance. And then everybody who wanted to from the crowds, teams, whoever, spectators would go down onto the floor in this special area and they would do these dances. Now, you did end up hearing the same songs over and over and over again, which is sort of fun now. But at the time I was like, if I hear the Macarena one more time, I'm going to go crazy. But it was really cool. Like it was like really good energy. And I think it was like to help get people up out of their seats and to keep the energy up.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really cool. And then they had the wave and like when, like the dogs were going and like some dogs, they're being separated by hundreds of a second. Like, you know, the second there was like what was also interesting is like anytime somebody would eat, they would play music, which I know is not that weird. Like lots of other places do that. But as the days went on and you sort of got to more, higher, like more important runs. And it was like the top, like 15 dogs. Like if the dog like got a refusal or if they even got a fault. So not even if they made an E, but you basically knew they weren't going to win. The crowd would just start clapping for them. It was really interesting because it was kind of like, you're not going to get it, but like valiant effort. And then the crowd would just like start making noise for the person, which I thought was really cool. Or like somebody would get a wide turn and you'd be like, oh, they're out, they're done. It's like that caliber. Like it's like the smallest little thing. So, and I said to a couple of the team members, like, this isn't about running clean. This is about being the fastest. So when you're choosing your handling options, it can't be whether you're going to get through it or not. It's what's the fastest way. Because if you go clean, someone else does it faster than you, you're going to come like 20th, 40th.
Yeah.
Like you have to be perfect, which is really exciting.
And hard to do.
Yeah, very hard to do.
And did all the height categories have the same amount of dogs in them?
No. The small or maybe the medium and the intermediate, I can't remember. Definitely the intermediate and then either smaller or medium had a little bit less. And intermediate, this was the first year they've ever had it. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And man, were there some wicked dogs in that height category. Unbelievably fast, which was really cool. And then obviously the large dog category was the biggest.
Yep.
So that was kind of neat. And the courses were interesting. They were all very different from each other.
Yeah, there was one course that had 2 dog walks. I don't think I've ever seen that
The
before.
large dog agility individual final had 2 dog walks. It was interesting because it was hard for people because the second dog walk, the handling kind of caused the handler to be kind of far back. So all kinds of dogs got the first dog walk contact perfectly.
Yes.
And many dogs missed the second one because of the nature of the cadence of the course. I don't really know if I liked that or not, but
it's kind of different, though.
It certainly made it exciting.
Yeah.
It's funny. It was funny because the medium courses, which is what I was supposed to run, I actually didn't really prefer them. No, because they were a bit squishy in a way for like a dog like her because she's got a big stride and fast dog. And I actually preferred the intermediate courses, which I thought was hysterical, which is now what she's going to have to jump if I ever decide to go back. But yeah, the courses were cool. Great courses. The judges were like very animated and
how many judges were there?
4.
So did each judge, were they all switched around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So because if you ran, like we were supposed to run team agility jumpers and then individual agility and jumpers. So I would have run one course from each judge.
Okay.
So anybody who ran 4 runs, you got to run one each judge once, which was kind of cool. And they were all very different from each other in terms of their style. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you haven't been back for very long, but I'm sure you've been able to think about some things. Do you think that you will go back to this event?
Well,
like, do you have plans? Like,
I don't know if I have any concrete plans, but obviously I've had some like reflection time to think about what I want to do next. I know I want to go back to the event. I don't know if it will be with B, which even like saying that sentence like makes me want to burst into tears again because she is the greatest agility dog I have ever had, hands down. Like she's just the best. So it's so sad that she couldn't run because she really is she's so good. So I don't know. I mean, the way that it works is once you get a measurement, your measurement is your measurement. So like what I was worried for is that if I decided to do intermediate and then I went back next year, but then she measured into medium, that like...
Could that happen?
No, it couldn't happen. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was the thing, but that could happen based on her height, right? Yes. And then what do you do? Because if you measure under what you said you were supposed to do, you also can't run. So I was like, what the fuck do I do? But the way that it works is she now doesn't need to be measured again. But if I go to EO or if I go to AWC, she must jump 20, like intermediate.
So if she went to EO in July or whenever it was, and she measured at the 16-inch division, would she have to get measured at? Oh, interesting.
And the word on the street, I don't know if I should say this or not, is that a few dogs that were in like some of the categories that maybe would have measured over at this event because they were very strict, got the measurement at EO because they were not strict at EO. And because there's so many dogs. And I guess they were trying to get through them quickly. And there was complaints actually about the fact that the measurement was not strict enough. And there was dogs getting heights that, I don't know if this is true. This is just what I was told.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if I had gone over in July a few months ago and she had been measured under, then I would have been fine. Crazy, eh? Mm-hmm. So anyways, my plan at this current moment, and I'm not going to say anything in stone because I truly do not know, is that if I want to return to this event, which I know that I do, I either have to get a brand new dog, because 5 can't go because he's a mixed breed and they don't allow that mixed breeds there. So I'd either have to get a new purebred dog, border collie, whatever it might be, train it for several years, hope to hell that it's the caliber that needs to go there, and then go back. So we're talking like years from now, which is sad. Or I train what's my dog's name? B, train B to jump 20. So I think I'm going to dabble in that and see
where it takes you.
Yeah, whether that's something she can even do. I mean, I had lots of conversations with lots of people while I was over, and they seem to think that she will have no trouble. So maybe that's the case. I truly just don't know, because it's never something I've even considered before. I never even thought about it, just because I've just jumped her 16 for
her whole life.
Ever.
Yeah.
She just turned 7. So, time unfortunately is not on our side. She's got a couple of years left of, high level competition based on her age. And also the fact that I'm not going to fly her a million more times because she hates it. So tryouts for the team next year are in April, as you know. So I think I'm just going to play around with it. And I think I'll know whether I think she's going to be competitive or not. If she's not going to be at the top, at the height, and if I'm going to not go over, it sounds so horrible, but if I'm going to train her at 20, and if I'm not going to go over there and be one of the most competitive dogs, I'm not going to bother doing it. Mm-hmm.
That's fair, though.
I'm not going over to place 40th. That's not how I function. I want to win. So I will have to figure that out. But the awkward thing is that she jumps medium for all the other ones, like
and
WAO.
They're kind of close together.
They're so close together. One's in April, and then I would have to jump her up. And then I'm going to WAO Worlds in May, which she jumps medium. So she's going to have to go up and down and up and down and up and down. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I would be foolish not to try and to see just kind of where things fall and go from there. But I don't.
Well, if it doesn't work out, we have a secondary plan.
Yeah, we do apparently. I don't know. I think you might regret saying that, but we'll see. Jamie thinks that I should take her dog Smooch.
I think it's a good idea.
I think Jamie should take her dog Smooch.
I'll come for the ride.
You could be my bucket bitch, or what do they call them?
I don't know what it is, but I'd like, it would be fun.
It would be fun.
Can watch my dog. Can watch you.
You can go to the Prosecco bar.
I can drink and have a great time during the while you're running.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like, even when I think about it, when you're like in a situation where like things are just so shocking and unreal, like, even though I went through it, I still like think, did that all actually happen?
Yeah.
Did I actually go all the way to Czech Republic to just sit and watch agility? Yeah, I did do that. But like, you're just like numb to it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I just never thought in a million years that something like that would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I will say that
it's something though that you had no control over. You didn't expect it to happen.
No. And I will say, like, I tried to...
And you handled it so well. Like, I know you were upset. I know that you were upset. I was upset for you. Everyone was upset for you. But the way that you handled it...
Don't start crying. You're going to make me cry.
Well, it was... I couldn't do that. I had a shitty run after the open. I was like, I'm going home. You handled it so well. And I don't think a lot of people could handle it that well.
Yeah. I don't know why I handled it like that, but
you had to.
I didn't see any other option, and I didn't want to spend day after day being upset. Like, I just didn't see the point of that.
You know what though? Like, we talked for a long time. I don't know when it was, but you accepted it and you handled it very well. Like, when I was speaking with you, like, I knew that you were upset, but I was like, you got this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I didn't do it by myself though. I mean, I don't know. I would say, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, competing. I would say that I'm a fairly resilient person. But it was very helpful. Like, Teresa was absolutely amazing. Carolyn was super sweet. Like, the night we got home, like I wasn't functioning. I was not like bawling my eyes out, but I was just like numb, like hardly speaking. Like, I was just like completely overwhelmed. I couldn't really eat or do anything. Like, I just was like,
well, it's like when you go through a bad breakup.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. And she was sweet. She ordered room service to my room so that I didn't have to go to the restaurant and like see anybody. That was really nice. And then like I spent a lot of time with Joe and Aaron from out east, and they were just, they were so fun and so thoughtful. Like, Aaron said just such nice things about, like, anyways, they were just fabulous. And then Joe wasn't competing, so that was really great for me because like he and I could be goofy together and we didn't really have any responsibilities. So, and you know, when we get on so well. So, yeah. And then Dave was there. Dave Munnings from England, which obviously we're very close to. And Dan was running, but Dave wasn't. So that was easy. So like I could spend a lot of time with Dave and he didn't really have any responsibilities, which was nice. And got to see Dan run and whatever. So there's lots of people that I saw at the event that I don't get to see very often. So I had lots of social time as well. But yeah, the whole thing is just really wild. But anyways, I mean, I hope that some good can come of it, because I would really, I mean, I guess I handled it well, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Oh, of course.
Like, it was awful. Like, so if that can be prevented again, like from somebody else going through that, I hope that we're able to. It's too bad
the countries couldn't have like certified judges that do the measurement, and that would be
like here.
That would be accepted when you travel overseas.
Yeah.
And then it's already done.
Yeah. I mean, somebody could school me on this, but I think they need to have a consistent way of measuring the dogs that all of the judges do the same. And then I think that, it would be really good to have something in place so that you don't travel all the way over. I mean, European countries, a lot of them can just get in the car and drive over a country and then they're there. Mm-hmm. Like, it costs Canadians, I don't know about Americans, but it costs us easily $10,000 to go over there. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't include all of the things that you do
prior
for months and months and months and months and months to prepare for the event. Like, it's a big deal.
Yep.
And it's stressful to fly the dogs. Like, I know, like, being on a world team, like, it's all glamorous, and like Team Canada, that's all cool and awesome. But there's a lot of like unglamorous parts about it as well that are very stressful and emotional.
The travel part, traveling the dogs
awful.
For that long.
It's awful.
And if there's any delays in the flights, like.
Yeah, the whole thing's really hard. But anyways, it's, I mean, I probably could have just watched the agility on live stream from like my couch at home and not gone all the way over there. But I also don't think that I would have like understood the energy of the event. And like, so in a way,
it's glad that you were able to come out of it to be like, I want to do this event.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I went, even though I didn't get to run. I'm not sure I would have done that to do it that way, but I am glad that I went. I am glad that I experienced it. I am glad that, you know, I learned from the experience, and obviously, like, dogs going forward, I'm going to be much more aware of the measurement process. I'm going to be able to like coach other people from my own experience to like have more knowledge about how it works, like I'm going to be able to pass on my experience and hopefully stop somebody else from doing it. There's lots of good that came out of it. I mean, I had a great time with friends. Also, like the outpour of comments on like Facebook and Instagram about like on my posts, like I couldn't keep up with them. There were so many, and like I couldn't read them without sobbing with like happiness.
People
like
were kind.
Like I can't believe they're so kind. Like it's like just the things that they were saying. I thought like you don't realize like people hold you to that regard or feel that way about you, and like it almost makes me feel like it's even more important that I, maintain being professional and like making these choices, because there's people who are looking up to me or they're watching to see how I handle things. And like, it was a very surreal thing to watch it and to read those comments. And it helped like immensely
get through it.
Oh, it was just I just couldn't believe how nice people were. Like it was so overwhelming. So overwhelming.
I'm glad that you posted something, because I know at one point you were like, I don't know whether or not I can do it. And I'm like, messages were coming to you. And I'm like, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that there was so many positive comments.
Yeah. Well, I knew people were going to be like, why is she not running? Because so many people were like, I can't wait to see you run. And I can't wait to see B on like the green carpet. And like, I felt like I was letting people down in a way, because so many people were telling me like how excited they were to like watch me run. And then now I just wasn't going to be running, and I didn't really know what to say or how to say it. And then I also didn't want to let the conversation be led in a direction that was not true, which it ended up doing anyways. But I think enough people understood that whoever was saying it, was full of bullshit anyways. So I'm glad that it didn't go in that way. But
that was one person to hundreds of people.
Yeah, for sure. So. And I tried to stay focused on that. There was a few times where I wanted to clap back, but I was like, no, take the high road. It's not worth it. Like,
yep.
You know what happened. And I knew I would have a chance to do this podcast, and I knew I would have a chance to kind of explain exactly what happened. And you know what? In a way, I guess I was wrong for going over and, chancing that she would get measured over. Maybe I was wrong to not learn a lesson from my tryouts experience. But honest to God, I was so overwhelmed and put off by the attitude of the tryouts measurement situation that I couldn't see the lesson. I couldn't take from it that this was something that could happen again, because I felt so put off by how she was being that I couldn't really learn the lesson. I wish I had of, because it would have saved me a lot of fucking money and emotional turmoil to go all the way over there. But it's just not the way that it happened. And I'm not about to sit here and make up some crazy story about what happened. I want to just be transparent about what happened. And it's a shitty situation. And, the whole thing sucked, but whatever, it is what it is. Now I have to figure out what the next steps are, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do about it. And I'm excited to be home and not have any big competitions until whenever the next one is. I mean, we have a local trial in November, which is going to be great. And I get to focus on training my puppy, which he's been on the back burner for basically since before May.
I got to train him.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jane was sending me videos of training. She had looked after 5 while I was away. And she sent me all these videos, and he's running full sequences. And I was like,
he's a big boy now.
Where's this dog from? Yeah. Did you do any dog walks with him?
Not really.
Yeah, because I trained him. I had him in class this morning. His dog walks were amazing. Oh. And I was like, I wonder if James trained his dog walk. But
I did when it was width-wise in the arena.
Oh, okay.
And he did fabulous, but I didn't have
you didn't do any crazy sessions.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, he did really, really well. So anyways, I'm looking forward to that. And then I think we'll put some jumps up in the side yard, won't we, B? And we'll do some big girl jumping. Big girl jumping. See if you can jump that high. And then we'll take it from there. But
there's time.
I'm not making any big decisions. And you know what? I think there's a guy he's not on the U.S. team, but he was traveling to support the U.S. team. His name's Mark Bills. And I really like him. And he's the owner of Clip and Go from Michigan. And he said something to me.
That sat with you?
Yeah. He said, like, this is a terrible situation, but like, thank God you're not running because you're injured or your dog's injured or there's something that like you can't come back from.
Yeah.
And like I saw people like Nicola, he fell and like smashed his head in one of the runs. I don't know if you heard or saw about that. It was horrifying. And there was a girl on the England team. Her dog came out of the weaves and slipped and like she had to carry the dog off. It was like on 3 legs. Like it's like he was so right. Like, yes, my situation was awful, but I'm healthy. My dog's healthy. I get to come home. I get to make up a new plan. I get to do whatever I want to do. So I think also if you think about it in like the different perspective, I was like,
half glass full or half glass half empty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That really sat with me when he said that. I was like, yeah, that is so true. It could be way worse.
Yeah.
So
she's ready to go.
Yep. You can't, she's off screen now, but she somehow for some reason feels that there is a cat in the studio. She was sitting in front of the door doing her cat look. And now I think maybe she has to go to the bathroom. That's her, I have to go to the bathroom look.
That's our cue.
Yep. Anyways, thanks for listening. This was a long one. Oh my gosh, James. It's really long.
Is it?
Yeah. 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh. Oh, we can do that.
Yeah. But anyways, I want to thank everybody who posted comments or did whatever. You truly like helped me more than you probably know. It was a hard go over there, but that's what happened, and the future will be what it will be. Oh, she says you just said B twice. Hi, BB. So anyways, thanks for listening, guys. We promise that the next episode will be a little more lighthearted. As always, happy training. Thanks for listening to our McCann Dogs Agility podcast. If you'd like to learn more about us, check out the links in the show notes below. On that note, happy training.